Every day, without fanfare, we perform an experiment on ourselves. 3 times a day, we make choices that either heal us or harm us. Most of the time, we do it unconsciously. A hand reaches for the familiar, the easy, the quick. But imagine, for a moment, that each meal you ate was a message to your body, to your future. What if that message said, "I choose to be well"? That single shift from automatic to aware is where wisdom begins. When we speak of healthy food swaps, we are not merely talking about exchanging one food for another. We are speaking of an evolution in consciousness, a quiet revolution that begins not in laboratories, in the halls of policy, but in the intimate space between your thoughts and your plate. The choices we make, one meal at a time, have the power to alter not only our individual well-being, but also the health of generations to come. It is not the grand act that defines change, but the quiet, consistent, deliberate choice. The kind you make when you choose an apple instead of a pastry, water instead of soda, truth instead of convenience. This, in its essence, is wisdom in action. We live in an age where abundance has outpaced awareness. We have more food, more options, and more information than ever before. Yet the understanding of what nourishes us has somehow become clouded. It is not that we lack access to good food. It is that we often lack the will to choose wisely. Wisdom, however, is not born from perfection. It is born from intention. Each time we make a conscious swap, a refined grain for a whole one, fried for grilled, processed for pure, we are, in fact, choosing life over mere existence. These choices might seem small, even trivial, but over the years, they accumulate like drops of water that carve valleys through mountains. The beauty of these choices is their simplicity. You do not need wealth, nor privilege to eat wisely. What you need is awareness, recognition that the human body is an extraordinary vessel, one that deserves better than synthetic fuel. When we fill it with foods that are alive, vibrant, and close to their natural form, we do not simply feed ourselves, we awaken our vitality. Think of your food as information. Every bite sends a message to your body. Some messages say, thrive. Others whisper, decline. Which message you send depends entirely on the choices you make. It is tempting in our fast-paced world to surrender to convenience. Yet every shortcut comes with a cost. A sugary beverage that soothes momentary fatigue extracts its toll later in inflammation, lethargy, and disease. A meal hurriedly chosen without thought becomes a reflection of a mind that has forgotten the sanctity of nourishment. But when we slow down, when we take a moment to question what we put into our bodies, we engage in a deeper act of respect. That respect extends not just to ourselves, but to the planet that feeds us. The truth is this: progress begins not when we invent something new, but when we rediscover something eternal. Healthy food swaps are not a trend. They are a return to balance, to reason, to wisdom. Every choice you make is a statement of who you are and what you value. So, be deliberate, be discerning, be wise. For wisdom, when practiced daily, becomes the most nourishing food of all. There comes a moment in every life when awareness dawns, when we recognize that health is not something granted by chance, but something shaped by choice. The foods we consume, the decisions we make each day, silently craft the story of our well-being in the simplest of acts, in choosing one food over another. We are, in truth, shaping our destiny. Healthy food swaps are not about denial, they are about direction. They are a quiet declaration that we choose to live with intention rather than indulgence, that we seek strength rather than surrender. The wisdom lies not in complexity, but in consciousness, in knowing that every meal is a dialogue between what we desire and what we need. We must learn again what it means to nourish ourselves. The human body is not a machine that can be fueled carelessly. It is a living, breathing organism that reflects every decision we feed into it. When we trade processed snacks for fruits, refined flour for whole grains, sugar-laden drinks for clean water, we are not simply changing our diet. We are aligning with nature. Nature has always known balance. It gives us what we need, not what we crave. The further we drift from it, the more we invite imbalance, and in imbalance, illness quietly takes root. We often imagine that great change requires sacrifice, but the truth is more elegant. Change begins with understanding, the kind that arises from asking, what serves me better? And listening honestly to the answer. It is not about perfection, but persistence. The small choices made consistently transform us in ways we cannot immediately see. A body freed from excess sugar begins to heal. A mind no longer clouded by heaviness begins to think clearly. A life once driven by habit begins to find harmony. This is not theory, it is biology guided by wisdom. There is within each of us a quiet intelligence that knows what health feels like. It does not shout, it whispers. When we eat foods that serve that intelligence, we feel alive. We sleep deeper, we move easier, we think sharper. But when we choose without thought, when we surrender to convenience and impulse, that intelligence fades beneath the noise of fatigue, pain, and disorder. The act of swapping one food for another becomes, therefore, more than a nutritional change. It becomes a restoration of dialogue between body and mind. We are living in an age where food is abundant, but wisdom is rare. We must reclaim that wisdom, not through trends or fads, but through awareness and respect. Respect for the body that serves us, and for the earth that sustains us. To be wise in our choices is to honor both. Healthy food swaps are not small acts. They are profound decisions made in quiet moments that determine the course of our vitality. And in those moments of choice, we do not merely feed ourselves. We affirm life itself. When I reflect upon the state of human health today, I see not a lack of resources, but a lack of wisdom in their use. We are surrounded by abundance, yet starved of discernment. Food, which was once a source of vitality and connection, has become a matter of convenience and habit. And in this convenience, we have drifted away from what our bodies were designed to recognize as nourishment. Healthy food swaps are not about diet or discipline alone. They are about rediscovering our relationship with nature and reclaiming responsibility for our own well-being. Every decision we make at the table is an expression of who we are and how deeply we value life. When we choose whole foods over processed ones, natural sweetness over artificial indulgence, and balance over excess, we are saying to ourselves and to the world, I choose to live with awareness. It is a simple statement, yet profoundly transformative. The shift from mindless eating to mindful nourishment requires courage. The courage to pause, to question, and to act with intention. Wisdom begins at that pause. It is in that moment between craving and choice that health is either built or broken. Let us be clear. The body is a system of extraordinary intelligence. It does not need perfection. It needs partnership. When we consume food close to its natural state, we are working with the body, not against it. The energy we feel after a fresh meal is not accidental. It is the body's gratitude expressed in vitality. Likewise, the fatigue after processed food is its quiet protest. Every swap we make, refined sugar to fruit, fried snacks to roasted seeds, soft drinks to infused water, is a signal to our body that we are listening again. And when the body feels heard, it begins to heal. True change does not begin in the supermarket. It begins in the mind. The act of choosing wisely is not a limitation, but liberation. Freedom from habits that no longer serve us. To live wisely is to understand that food is not just fuel, but information. It instructs our cells, influences our emotions, and shapes our resilience. When we align those instructions with nature's design, health becomes not a goal, but a natural outcome. The greatest breakthroughs in life are rarely loud. They begin quietly. One decision, one intention, one meal at a time. Healthy food swaps represent such quiet revolutions. They remind us that progress is not about doing more, but doing better. It is about returning to simplicity, to foods that our grandmothers recognized, to habits that honor our bodies, and to wisdom that sustains rather than depletes. So, when you sit down to eat, remember, every bite is a choice, every choice is a message, and every message shapes the future of your health. Choose wisely, for in that choice lies the promise of a life well lived. In the end, it is not medicine that defines our health. It is mindfulness, not perfection, but presence. Each food we choose is a vote for the life we wish to live. So the next time you stand before a plate, remember, you hold in your hands not just food, but your future. Choose with wisdom, act with intention, and let every bite be an affirmation of life itself.